Behind the sequined gowns and million-dollar smile of America's beloved country queen lies a story far more complex than the world has ever imagined. For decades, Dolly Parton has been the embodiment of grace under pressure, turning every slight into a song and every betrayal into a bestseller. But what happens when the cameras stop rolling and the stage lights dim? What stories has she kept locked away behind those twinkling eyes and that infectious laugh? At 79, the woman who gave us classics that defined generations has finally begun to pull back the curtain on the industry relationships that shaped her legendary career. These aren't just professional disagreements or creative differences. These are the deep, personal wounds that even time couldn't fully heal. From mentors who became adversaries to collaborators who left her feeling abandoned, Dolly's journey through the music industry has been paved with both diamonds and thorns. The truth is, success at Dolly's level doesn't come without making enemies along the way. Behind every platinum record and sold-out stadium tour lies a trail of difficult decisions, burned bridges, and relationships that couldn't survive the pressures of fame. Some tried to control her, others underestimated her, and a few simply couldn't handle watching her star rise higher than their own. What makes Dolly's story so fascinating isn't just who crossed her path, but how she handled each betrayal with a combination of Southern grace and steely determination. She never aired dirty laundry in public, never threw tantrums at award shows, and never used her platform to destroy careers. Instead, she wielded her silence like a weapon, letting her success speak louder than any angry interview ever could. The first chapter of Dolly's professional heartbreak began with the very man who gave her a chance. Porter Wagoner wasn't just a duet partner or television host. He was the gatekeeper who opened doors that might have remained forever closed to a young woman from the Tennessee mountains. In 1967, when Dolly stepped onto the Porter Wagoner show, she was grateful, eager, and ready to learn. What she didn't expect was how complicated gratitude could become when mixed with ambition and ego. Their partnership created magic on stage, with harmonies that seemed effortless and chemistry that captivated audiences across America. But behind the scenes, a different dynamic was playing out. Porter, accustomed to being the star of his own show, watched as audience attention shifted toward his protégé. Her distinctive voice, striking appearance, and natural charisma began to overshadow his own performances, creating a tension that neither of them initially acknowledged. As Dolly's confidence grew, so did her desire for creative independence. She began writing more of her own material, developing her unique sound, and dreaming of a solo career that would allow her full artistic expression. To Porter, these aspirations felt like betrayal. He had discovered her, nurtured her talent, and shared his platform. Why wasn't that enough? The mentor-student relationship that had once felt so natural began to feel more like a cage to Dolly and a threat to Porter. When she announced her departure from the show in 1974, the professional became deeply personal. Porter didn't just lose a duet partner. He felt abandoned by someone he had trusted and supported. The emotional wounds ran so deep that 5 years later, he took the most painful step of all. He sued her for $3 million, claiming breach of contract and demanding a share of her solo success. For Dolly, the lawsuit represented more than just a legal battle. It was a betrayal by someone who had once believed in her dreams. The woman who would later write songs about forgiveness and moving forward found herself confronting the harsh reality that not everyone would celebrate her success. Instead of retaliating with angry statements or public accusations, she channeled her pain into what would become one of her most enduring classics, creating a beautiful farewell that masked the depth of her hurt. The Porter Wagoner experience taught Dolly valuable lessons about the music industry, but it wasn't the last time she would face unexpected criticism. Decades later, in 2023, indie rock musician Jeff Tweedy made an offhand comment during an interview that sent shockwaves through the music community. When asked about songs that didn't move him emotionally, he casually dismissed one of Dolly's most beloved compositions as something that had never connected with him personally. What might have been forgotten as a musician's personal preference instead became a cultural flashpoint. Fans who had grown up with the song, who had danced to it at weddings and cried to it during breakups, felt personally offended. The song wasn't just music to them, it was soundtrack to their most important life moments. Tweedy's dismissal felt less like criticism and more like an attack on shared cultural memory. Dolly's response was characteristically dignified. She offered no rebuttals, made no angry statements, and didn't use her considerable platform to strike back. Her silence spoke volumes, demonstrating a confidence that didn't require defense. Interestingly, Tweedy's subsequent musical projects seemed to struggle for the attention and acclaim his previous work had received, leading many to wonder if there were consequences to casually dismissing an icon. The late 1980s brought a different kind of challenge when Dolly joined forces with Linda Ronstadt and Emmylou Harris for what should have been a dream collaboration. Three of country music's most powerful voices coming together seemed guaranteed to create magic, and in many ways, it did. Their album Trio became both a commercial and critical success, proving that female artists could collaborate without competition. However, the creative process revealed fundamental differences in their approaches to music and their expectations for the project. Linda's perfectionist tendencies clashed with Emmylou's more intuitive style, while Dolly found herself juggling not just musical commitments, but her expanding brand that now included movies, business ventures, and a carefully cultivated public image. The tensions that simmered during recording sessions never fully erupted into public feuds, but they ensured that what could have been an ongoing partnership remained a beautiful but brief moment in time. Perhaps the most complex relationship in Dolly's professional life involves her own goddaughter, Miley Cyrus. When Miley transformed from Disney darling to controversial pop culture lightning rod, the world watched to see how country music's moral compass would react. Miley's provocative performances, boundary-pushing music videos, and headline-grabbing behavior seemed to contradict everything Dolly represented. Yet Dolly's response surprised everyone. Instead of distancing herself or offering public criticism, she provided something rarer: unconditional support mixed with private guidance. She understood that artistic evolution sometimes requires destruction of previous images, and she refused to let public opinion dictate her relationship with family. Her handling of Miley's transformation demonstrated a sophistication about fame and personal growth that many industry veterans never develop. The most painful professional moment may have come from an unexpected source: a younger country artist who publicly questioned Dolly's relevance to modern country radio. The comment, made during an industry panel, suggested that Dolly's influence on contemporary country music was minimal, and that her era had passed. The room fell silent, no one defended her, and the moment passed without immediate consequence. Months later, when that same artist invited Dolly to join his national tour, her polite but firm decline sent a clear message through industry circles. She remembered not just the slight, but the silence that followed it. Her refusal wasn't angry or vindictive. It was simply a boundary drawn by someone who knew her worth and wouldn't pretend otherwise. What emerges from these stories isn't a portrait of a woman holding grudges, but rather someone who learned early that success requires both grace and strength. Dolly never used her platform to destroy careers or settle scores publicly. Instead, she let her continued success, her expanding influence, and her enduring relevance speak for themselves. She understood that the best revenge isn't public humiliation, it's private satisfaction combined with professional excellence. At 79, Dolly Parton continues to redefine what it means to be a legend in the modern music industry. Her recent rock album proved she could master new genres, her business empire demonstrates her financial acumen, and her philanthropic efforts show her commitment to giving back. She has outlasted many of her critics and outshined most of her contemporaries, not through conflict, but through consistency. The real secret to Dolly's longevity isn't just her talent or her business sense. It's her understanding that dignity is more powerful than drama, that silence can be louder than shouting, and that the best way to handle betrayal is to rise so high above it that looking down becomes unnecessary. She has transformed every slight into strength, and every betrayal into a better song, proving that true icons aren't made by avoiding conflict, but by handling it with grace that makes everyone else look small in comparison.